Just by way of definition, maybe you can help us. When somebody says self-love, what are they talking about?
Basically, simply put,
Yeah.
it's the appreciation of one's self.
Okay.
Simply put.
All right.
We go into the deeper things, the
Yes.
definition. Self, what is self? Me,
Yes.
I, the person, and then love. Love has prescriptions or definitions based on different things.
Right.
The Bible gives us the love is patient, love is kind. The world has these, it's a feeling, an emotion.
Right.
So the different definitions of what love is, but basically the self-love component is about how we view ourselves.
Okay.
And the choices which determine the choices that we make and the relationships that we get into and how we conduct those relationships. So basically that's the self-love word. And it is the new, I want to say buzzword.
Yes,
it wasn't there in the past.
That's right.
In the past, you uko peke yako,
Uko solo.
vile unajifeel.
Yes, yes.
And life was, we never had to focus or think about self-love as
Right.
much as we do now. The world was very simple back in the day. I think you remember growing up.
Yeah.
What was life?
Yes.
We were out
Just
playing.
chilling.
After that,
No
there
complications.
were no complications. They want
Sweeping a lot of things under the rug.
there were not a million channels to watch.
Yeah.
There was just, life was pretty simple. Now it's become a little more complicated and there are a lot more things going on in one's life. For example, today, a day like today for you, by the time you've woken up, come here, done your 1 million things that you need to do, changamusha all of us,
Yeah,
made
yeah.
us feel really happy, and then gone into your regular other things that you need to do.
Yeah.
There's a lot that goes on in that. And in that space, we end up either being overwhelmed by the life, like you said, sweeping stuff under the rug,
Right.
camouflaging, masking. There's so many things that happen because of the way that the life that we're living today.
Right.
With COVID last year and just the whole lockdown, losing jobs, things, life gets full.
Right.
And so the self-love conversation is about how do we get ourselves out of the busyness and fullness of life and recognize that this body needs care, that this mind needs care, that this spirit needs care. And in order for it to thrive, in order for us to thrive as human beings, we need to take care of ourselves, basically. That's where now the self-love conversation comes in.
And you mentioned something that when it begins with the, which is most important, you touched on it last time, which is the perception of self. And then now that goes deeper into now our other relationships.
Yes.
That we get into. Most times, however, when you see people talk about self-love, especially online, it has almost been reduced to quotes about self-love.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's very true. I say that people, we know the concept, but we haven't necessarily grasped what we need to do as individuals to move us into that space. So I'll take us a little bit back and say that you can tell people who lack self-love by the way they carry themselves, by the way you talked about the relationships with other people.
Right. How can you tell?
Well, so one, very judgmental about themselves, concerned about what other people think. What do you think? What do you think? How do I look? How do I look? How do I look? What do you think? What do you think? What do you think? What will they think? What will they think if I make this decision? What will they think if I do this? That's usually part of showing that this person is not fully what is the word? Confident about who they are and about the choices and decisions that they make. And so they need validation from other people. So some of those are the cues. If someone constantly requires validation or is constantly putting other people down, and always, you know, the people you meet who are always negative. They have nothing positive to say. Or like you listen and you're like, okay. And so expecting the world to owe us something is one of the biggest mistakes that people make when it comes to the self-love journey. And so I will say that the self-love journey is an intentional journey and it's not linear. It's not a straight road that you're going to hit Mombasa Road
and just
Mombasa. No. You're going to find traffic, you're going to find bumps on the road, you're going to find different things. And so the self-love journey is a journey. And it's every day being mindful about your self-love journey. And so in terms of people having steps to take, I thought of what are the basic steps that people should take, or a few simple steps that people should take
to kickstart them
towards the self-love journey. And the first thing that I thought of was an attitude of gratitude. Let me tell you, we are the most ungrateful society in this world. Even if you're given, I don't know what, you still complain. You still find people complaining. Even if today the sun is shining, by the way, we will complain. when it starts raining, we will complain. Sasa mvua. If it were to snow, we would even complain harder. And so I think it's about waking up in the morning and having an attitude of gratitude that you are alive. Take a deep breath. Someone didn't make that breath today, and they're RIP. You made that breath means that you have a lot to be grateful for, that your organs are working properly, that your mental capacity, your brain, you can see, we have so much to be grateful for. And so beginning a list of things that we are grateful for and beginning to be grateful about those things vocally. Because it's easy to be grateful in your heart.
So you need to say it out loud.
You need to say it out loud.
Speak it,
You need to say it out loud. You need to be able to say, I'm so grateful for all the people who work here and the people who make you look good on TV.
Yes, thank you very much, Kina Ibrakitita Mbogi.
And that being able to be vocal about it will then impact not just you, but the people around you. So the attitude of gratitude to me is a really big deal. A big deal. We say that your attitude determines your altitude. How high you go, how big you become will be determined by how grateful you are. Then the second thing I think is self-talk. Now, this is where the world is full of chatter. People have things to say about you. Comments, whether good or bad. They meet you, they have something to say. Oh, umeongeza weight. Oh, ulifanya nini nywele. Oh, hizo viatu ni kala gani. Oh, then it will be, oh, your presentation skills can be better. I mean, there's always something that people have to say about you and about your life and about, if you have to ask people for an opinion, everybody has an opinion.
Yes, that's right.
In fact, the weight of people's opinion sometimes is so heavy on us. It's even heavier than the weight that we carry.
That's right.
And so it's important for us to begin to speak to ourselves from the time that we wake up in the morning. Positive self-talk. No matter what you've come through, no matter what you've been through, number one, forgive yourself. Whatever it was, imagine it's okay. Forgive yourself. Tell yourself, imagine, I'm sorry. It's okay. And then begin from, today I'm going to make positive steps towards having the life that I want. A lot of us have dreams of grandeur, wonderful things that we want to achieve, but we are talking ourselves out of it and we are talking ourselves down. So you wake up in the morning, and it's a beautiful day. Today is the day that you should go out and look for that job. But you're like, sasa ni kuna joto sana. Or what if they don't like me? What if they don't like my CV? Or I haven't printed my CV. Wake up. Go print your CV. Say, today is the day that I'll go and print my CV. Today is the day that I'm going to go to the gym. Today is the day that and then begin to tell yourself that you are wonderful, you are enough, you have enough. You can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. You can begin to talk to yourself and give yourself the positive affirmations. Those that don't come from other people. We expect validity from other people most times. I wanted for you to say, hey, you look good, and you did. So yay. But if I told myself that already when I left the house,
it's good. So
like,
that comes as a...
Damn, I look good. This chick looks hot.
So that then comes as a supplementary, or rather added.
What happens is when I come here, you are going to pick up on the vibes that I already had put out into the atmosphere. And it's more likely than not that you will say those things. The same thing happens with the negative. If I wake up and I say, oh, I don't feel so good. When I come in, the first thing you'll be like, what's wrong? Is there something wrong? You'll pick up on those vibes because we are filled with energy, and the energy that we project will determine what people view us to be.
Well, how then do you still do that, but then still remain in a sort of reality? Because some people will talk themselves like, enyewe kuna shida, but yes, you're positive, but how do you stay positive and not ignore the problem and the thing that you need to work on?
So the first thing I'll say is that the power of life and death is in the tongue.
That's right. You confess, you possess.
And you know, I think we almost joked about it to a fault, yet it is the reality. Last week I gave the example that God said, let there be light. He could have said, nikubaya. Nikudak. Things are bad. But he said what he wanted to see happen. And so our words have creative power. Everything we see and cannot see was created by the word. It was created by a word that was spoken. Same thing with our lives. We start the creation process by the words that we speak. Then we move from the words to the actions, which is now the next thing. That after you talk, Talk is cheap. Do the action. Right. And what is the action? Self-care. And the self-care journey is not just, let's list some of the nice things. You have a really good segment on nutrition.
Right.
So you eating the unhealthy things is not self-care. So you can't say, oh, I love myself, and then you're stuffing yourself with, or drinking, or ingesting, or putting in things that are harmful to your body, to your mental faculties. Those two don't work together.
Right.
So you can't say, oh, today I'm going to be all wonderful, but the things that you're doing don't align with what it is that you have spoken. And so there must be an alignment. And so when it comes to self-care, nutrition is one of them. The guys who were here last week, exercise is another. And then we move into the other simple things. I think it's important for us as a society, as human beings, to take a minute and just stop. Not just chill. Our lives are so busy, I find people don't even have time to just...
to relax.
And be quiet, be still with yourself, with your thoughts. Take some time out. Be quiet, just be still. Right. Listen to that inner voice. In most cases, by the way, sickness and pain, dis-ease is part of your body trying to tell you something. It's trying to tell you, by the way, you've overworked me, I'm not getting enough sleep, I don't have enough water, I don't have enough. The body gives you signals. What do? We ignore those signals, or we begin to consume. You have a headache, you take Panadol. Yet the body was trying to tell you, by the way, maybe it's time for you to
sleep, to chill, take a break.
Sleep. You start feeling depression and frustration. Maybe it's time to get off toxic relationships. Maybe it's time to get off what you're watching. Because sometimes also what we consume in terms of media content can be harmful to our well-being. You're busy there horror movies the whole night. And then you wonder why you keep stukaing in the streets. Anytime someone comes and taps you, you have this jolt that happens in your body or in your mind. And so the self-care is a critical part of it. I do say even things like journaling. Take a journal. Begin to write what are those. If you had a tragic event, traumatic experience, you had a broken relationship, have a journal. Begin to write down what those thoughts are, what those things are.
What happens if those thoughts are dark?
And I tell people, go there. Go there.
How do you go there and not stay there?
So for me, I say get professional help.
Right.
A lot of us are afraid of getting professional help because we think it costs too much. Yet the damage we are doing, it's like driving your car when it's, it has a sound. Then that sound keeps getting worse, and you keep driving the car. One day the car breaks down because you are too afraid, or you didn't want to go and spend the money at the mechanics. Yet if you went, he'd have told you, kitu, sombili, it's fixed. And it's the same thing with getting professional help, whether it's a psychiatrist, an image consultant, a psychologist, a pastor. Their help is available to us. We just need to seek it out. And so if your thoughts you think are too dark for you to handle by yourself, seek help. And I do say also today there's mtandao. Google. How to not lose the plot. It will tell you, do you mean not commit suicide? Do you mean not... Usually the solutions are available to us, either at the touch of a button or at a phone call. And Safaricom made it easy for us to talk for kidogo. So we can talk about it. Still on that, even as we edge towards the end. So here's somebody who's watching and they're in the pit. And like it's easier said than done. It's easy to say I want to confess positive things, but my heart was broken yesterday. Valentine's, the flowers didn't come.
Valentine's. Or it's been a month or two. And they're wondering, how do I get back without, just having quotes and actually taking the journey. And while also acknowledging my feelings of hurt and defeat and all that.
I'll give a personal life experience. I had a traumatic experience where I had a parent die. And through trauma. And I didn't tell myself, woohoo, yes, I can do all things. No, I gave myself time. And we say, give time. So sometimes you require time to heal. So don't try to, it's not a magic wand, self-love, and then I'm back to normal. No. As I said, it's a process and it's a journey. And so you give yourself time. And as time progresses, you begin then to take the steps. So mop, but don't mop the whole year. At some point, after the morning period, you take a shower, you wear the makeup wear the face, and you begin the steps. What were the steps for me? You start a journal, you begin to write those things, you seek help, you surround yourself with positive people and people who will be able to recognize what it is that you're going through and speak into your life and into that situation. And so for me, I had a good support system. I still have a very good support system. Some people don't have a good support system, and it's a high time you began to do an audit.
So support system would be?
Who are your friends?
Okay.
What kind of relatives do you have? Do you have a good spiritual support, a church system, a pastor, a spiritual leader, someone who can be able to help you with the, because we are body, mind, and spirit. Yeah. And so if there are people who can speak into your mind, like today I'm trying to speak into people's minds and tell them, you know, this is what you need to do, this is how you need to do it. There are others who speak into your spirit, where I speak and then you're like, yo kitu imeingia, somewhere it's really imeingia. It has ingiad. And then there are others that will speak to your body. The health fitness people will speak to the body. The nutritionists will speak to the body. And so find who it is that you need at what point. And like I said, the body knows and the mind knows what is required. But if you don't take time to stop and think through the process, then what's going to happen? You're just going to keep going. At some point, after a year, you break down. If we're to trace back why you broke down, it was because of you didn't deal. You didn't deal with the broken relationship. You didn't deal with the heartbreak. You didn't deal with the emotions. You just went on and kept on going. And you know, in this world, by the way, there are other people waiting in the wings. Yeah. So they're waiting to dive in and almost keep it going. Yet, sometimes it's important to stop. It's important to sleep. You had a bad day. Imagine if you lala.
Kalale.
Ukiamka. That thing then looks so bad after all. And sometimes you also think about what else, what next to do. Speaking to good people who have good advice, because the people who have bad advice, that problem can be fixed with
that
and yet you know in the morning,
it's like you press the pause button.
It's not even a pause button, because now it comes with other things. You have a bad hangy, you have to do what. So for me, it's finding people who have solutions that are useful for you, whether they are physical people or online people. Like I said, you can be in the TDJ's church. You don't have to go to Texas.
Where it's snowing right now.
Right.
You have no electricity.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And so it's finding the solutions. But for me, you have to be intentional. This thing of, it will come to me, and I will wish it and it shows up. Life is not about wishing. If you're at wishing, it's about being intentional, and it's about doing the things that you need to be doing. So wake up, be positive, speak positive things about yourself. Start a self-care routine. Have a journal. Have some affirmations. Have stuff that will help you along that journey. If it's goals that you've set, this year I want to lose X, I want to have a better body, or I want to have read several books and increase the knowledge in my mind, then you begin those steps. Don't say, oh, this year I'm going to read 20 books. You don't even own one. You've not even bought one or borrowed one from a friend.
Right. All right, speaking about books and stuff, we have
I do have a giveaway.
A
wonderful friend of mine, Modoni, has started Unlocking Self-Love. It's a page on Instagram.
Right.
And she was gracious enough to give us a gift for today. It's a journal, and we want to give it away to somebody here. So it's a journal that will help you document, write down the thoughts, write down the things, write down the journey that you're on. And if you begin to read back, like for me, I journal a lot. When I read back 5 years ago, I'm like, I've come a long way. Oh, this is wonderful. I'm not where I am, I was. I'm not who I used to be. I'm a better person. I'm doing a lot better with my life right now. And you just begin to see how you've changed, because life is dynamic and we change. And then the other thing is daily affirmations. You make a habit. Every day you pick one of these and you say, I'm releasing comparison and I'm embracing self-love. Another one, I'm thankful for my body. Another one, I appreciate my body and everything it does for me. You know, so I am worthy of a loving, healthy, happy, and supportive relationship. You tell yourself wonderful things every day, you'll be surprised what it will do for you. And I tell people, just try.
All right, so maybe also we know we're going to follow Unlocking Self-Love, but also what are your personal...
my personal handles at Ndenya Masharia on all platforms, and then my website is ndenya.com. www.ndenya.com, www.ndenya.com, and you can find my number there. I usually put my number out there, and people are like, you put your number out there?
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, because unfortunately, the people watching, only one person will call.
Yeah.
Out of a group of 100, usually one person, and then I'm grateful for the one. So if you're the one, please feel free to call me, get some help. We can direct you and lead you in the path for unlocking self-love.
All right. Well, thank you so much for that. Here's how we're going to give away the book. In the beginning of the show, if you are listening, Ndenya gave a very simple description of what self-love is. Use the hashtag Daybreak and tag her and Ndenya Macharia, tag at Citizen TV Kenya. We'll pick at random, and at the end of this show, we're going to give you the package here. And make sure you also follow Unlocking Self-Love. Coming up next, Kola Mushiri. We're going to be working out, so we're going to take a break, and this is the way you're going to do it. If you want, you can quickly run and change, because when they come back, they're going to take you through a morning workout routine. So quickly, go and change.
I'm running to change now. Nitanipata kwa sitting room.
Hata utakuwa hivi.
Nitakuwa hivi. Nikihema. Self-love.
Go and change, and when we return, it's going to be lit. See you then.